Hello everyone, good evening. 2 methanol plants are to be established by the NNPC not only to lend credence to government declaration of 2020 as year of gas, motorists will now have a choice to either buy PMS or CNG, which many plants will be co-located within existing filling stations. The new advocacy is for cleaner bill of health for NNPC staff, and it's been driven by the Know Your Numbers medical outreach for everyone to check their blood sugar, blood pressure, blood cholesterol, and body weight so as to avoid sudden demise and stories that touch their hearts. The season of the pandemic which we are in makes this very imperative and very telling. Listen to what those who participated in the exercise have to say in the details, which is just ahead. Thanks for joining us. I am Akin Agbejule. This is All on Gas Forum.
NNPC is now ready and willing to open its books, open its operations for wider scrutiny and for operations. And the benefit is huge. There will be investment trust. More companies, more countries will trust the NNPC. And the NNPC will become a bigger player in most EITI member countries because they will now become one of the EITI brands.
NNPC Retail launches a range of superior quality engine oils for improved engine health, life, and efficiency. The NNPC lubricants, specifically formulated to give dependable all-year-round engine protection, cleaner engines, oxidation resistance and discrepancy, turbocharged for high-grade performance, suited for motorcycles, automobiles, medium and heavy-duty stationary units. Buy NNPC lubricants. The energy to run for longer.
The Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Chief Timipre Silva, says left for President Muhammadu Buhari, there would not have been an upward review of the pump price of premium motor spirit, better known as petrol. Government is no longer in the business of fixing prices for petroleum products. We have stepped back. End of quote. It would be recalled that recently, the Petroleum Products Marketing Company PPMC had announced 151 naira 56 kobo as the ex-depot price. Speaking with reporters in Abuja, Chief Silva said the federal government was not in charge of fixing the prices of petroleum products in the country.
We are no longer fixing prices. That is what deregulation means. We are no longer in the business of fixing those prices. We have stepped back and we are allowing market forces to determine the price at the pump. But government, of course, now had to play its traditional role of protecting the consumer so that nobody over-profiteers on the consumer.
The minister said it was unfortunate that citizens were erroneously blaming the federal government for the increase, pointing out that the focus of the authorities was rather to protect the interest of Nigerians. Chief Silva said the government had to cut down crude oil production from 2 million barrels to 1.412 million barrels per day. In his words, the regulation will definitely come with few pains, but survival of the country is paramount. End of quote.
Let us sit down as Nigerians and reason together. This is a necessary policy direction. I believe that it will come with a few pains, I agree, at least initially. But when we get over this bump, I can assure you that we will all be happy that we took this decision for the survival of this country.
The recent hike in the price of petrol, PMS, has been described as one of the effects of market forces, which experts and stakeholders say it is good for the industry and the consumers in the long run. A new pricing procedure has pushed up the pump price of PMS, which has elicited varied reactions. Stakeholders in the industry who explained the development leading to the price increase in the pump price said Nigerians will soon begin to experience the benefits of deregulation, which is expected to lure more participants into the business and thus ensure steady supply of petroleum products and competition in the sector. For Bismarck Riwane, the Chief Executive Officer of Financial Derivatives Limited, the complete deregulation of the downstream sector will bolster investment in the oil and gas sector.
Subsidies, which are reverse taxes, are being reduced so that the people will now have, the government will have more revenue to provide services to the people. And I've said the condition is that as long as the government revenues are used for providing services and leakages are reduced, then everybody should be better off for this right now. There'll be new investments in power, petroleum, and manufacturing, which will give a multiplier effect to output and GDP and make people better off.
Chairman of the Nigeria Union of Journalists Abuja Council, Emmanuel Ogbeche, said the hike in the ex-depot price of premium motor spirit PMS is driven by market fundamentals and urged Nigerians to embrace the policy for the good of the country.
Interplay of market forces, and we desire a society that works, and it comes at a price. You understand? Nobody should be surprised that government has hiked the price of PMS, as it were, but we desire good infrastructure. And if this is the case, what we only need to do is to hold government accountable.
A public affairs analyst, Andrew Abu, said the deregulation policy will give other marketers in the downstream industry of the nation's oil and gas industry the impetus to compete favorably with all other players.
I've always been in support of full deregulation, and I'm happy that this government, with the kind of goodwill they have, they've been able to fully deregulate. So, I mean, we that understands what full deregulation is, we're in full support of it, and we're happy that this is happening at the moment.
A software developer, Isaac Vincent, said Nigerians must consider the benefits of the new pricing regime than reacting to the price increase alone.
Government, for the first time in the history of the country, has actually taken this bold step and removed subsidy and create a level playing field for all the market forces to come into play in the downstream sector of the oil sector in Nigeria. It's going to create, a lot of spread effect on the spatial space for Nigerians everywhere else through infrastructural development and also social amenities development, including education.
The Nigeria National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) has obtained a prepayment funding of $1 billion to support the upstream operations of its subsidiary Nigerian Petroleum Development Company (NPDC). The crude oil prepayment has enabled NNPC to pay NPDC's tax obligations to the federal government of Nigeria of $700 million, with the balance utilized to fund NPDC's capital and operating expenditures. The prepayment financing is backed by future oil production of NPDC and utilizes a well-established structure to enable the purchaser of the crude, Eagle Export Funding Limited, to raise financing in the domestic and international markets to fund an upfront payment to NNPC under a forward sale agreement (FSA). Vital and Matrix Energy have executed the standard NNPC crude oil sale and purchase agreement. The participants in the Eagle Export Funding Limited deal include Standard Chartered Bank, United Bank for Africa, Afrexim Bank, Union Bank, and two oil trading companies, Vital and Matrix Energy. Despite the constrained liquidity situation in the financing markets due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the pricing and terms obtained for the USD and NGN funding tranches were very competitive and better than precedent transactions. The Federal Road Safety Corps, FRSC, has commended the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, for the renovation of 13 out of 27 roadside clinics across the 6 geopolitical zones of the Federation. The Corps Marshal of the FRSC, Dr. Boboy Oyeyemi, who gave the commendation while on a courtesy visit to the NNPC in Abuja, said the corporation's investment in healthcare will bring great value to teeming highway users in the country.
I think let me appreciate the positive innovations of NNPC. Within the last 2 years, the management of NNPC has raised the bar with respect to the safety in the downstream sector.
In his response, the Group Managing Director of NNPC, Malam Melekari, reiterated the corporation's commitment to safety of all stakeholders in the petroleum products distribution value chain.
There are some safety measures that we can all take as a matter of regulation so that vessels are fit with the right valves and controls so that these incidences are minimized to the various minimum.
The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, is to establish 2 methanol plants to meet the huge demands for the product in the country. NNPC Chief Operating Officer Gas Empire Engineer Yusuf Usman made this known in an interview in Abuja.
By using brass fertilizer, we put in 2 methanol plants. We are also bringing in other industrial base into the area. So, you see, the more you have gas-based industries in Nigeria, the more advantage you have then to compress this gas and send it for export. The export makes revenue for you, but when you balance it, you are looking for economic growth of Nigeria, promoting the sustainable development that I talk about.
He also stated that NNPC was working assiduously to increase the domestic gas utilization and expand its export footprint in line with the federal government's declaration that 2020 is a gas year for Nigeria.
So in a nutshell, you can see these huge opportunities in the gas area, and that is what makes this year the year of gas. You know, the Honorable Minister declared during the Nigerian Investment Summit that 2020 is the year of gas.
As part of its commitment to promote a healthy workforce, the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, has rolled out a medical outreach captioned "Know Your Numbers," aimed at appraising the blood sugar, blood pressure, blood cholesterol, and weight of its personnel. Managing Director of NNPC Medical Services Limited, Dr. Mohammed Zango, made this known during the medical outreach in Abuja. Dr. Zango said the medical outreach became imperative following the sedentary lifestyle of some staff of the corporation due to the coronavirus pandemic, saying that the management of NNPC was committed to promoting a healthy work balance for its staff.
We want to raise awareness among the workforce, our colleagues, to understand that there are basic numbers about their health and well-being that they must know. These are numbers, or rather indices, that are used to measure certain parameters like blood pressure, like glucose level, like cholesterol, and oxygen concentration, you know, and then the height and the weight, which you will use to calculate the BMI.
Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Finance, and a statutory board member of the NNPC, Dr. Mahmoud Dutse, described the medical outreach as the right step in the right direction for a healthy work balance for NNPC staff.
I think this is a very good initiative by the management of NNPC. Staff need to know their health status And it's important to do this screening so that if there are problems, they can be detected early and people advised on what to do, particularly regarding lifestyle, nutrition, and so forth.
Chief of Staff to the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Moses Olamide, applauded the management of the NNPC for conducting the Know Your Numbers medical outreach, especially with the indifference of so many people to go for medical examination in the face of the coronavirus pandemic.
Yeah, I think it's what we should be doing from time to time because of the challenges in the work environment, and luckily NNPC has started work-life balance.
On her part, the Group General Manager, Corporate Planning and Strategy, Mrs. Orise Meiwa Eyesang, commended the staff for the massive turnout for the exercise.
This started since Monday, and from the feedback I've gotten, people have really availed themselves of this very rare opportunity, to do what is needful at this time.
Other members of staff who participated in the exercise have this to say on the medical outreach.
This is a very laudable exercise. A lot of us have been scared to go to hospitals because of COVID. So this helps us to keep tabs of our health and to ensure that, the fear we have as to what is happening to us and everything is doused.
The vital signs, they've taken these key numbers. They are very, very instrumental to one's health so that issues will be diagnosed on time and attention will be given to it.
With this, staff will know, they'll be able to dictate if anyone has any illness in them. It's a very, very good step they have taken, and I give them kudos for that.
Because knowing these numbers are very, very helpful. We know we can do our human effort, but that cannot prevent death. But at least it may prevent unexpected, unexplainable deaths.
Hello and thanks for joining us on the feedback segments of the program. My name is Julia Auta. The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) started publishing its monthly financial and operations reports on its website, social media handles, newspapers, online media, and on all other public information platforms since October 2015. This week, we hit the streets to find out from the public the importance of the publication of NNPC's monthly operations and financial reports to Nigerians.
I believe that by being very open in their account books, Nigerians would begin to have more confidence in their activities and also have more confidence in doing businesses with their other agencies. That is really a very good development, and Nigerians are really happy about it.
NNPC at least they have done something good. They are transparent. They are trying to tell the public that yes, if you have something different from what we are giving to the public, come ahead, we can answer you.
People will be able to know where, how they are spending our money. Then if anybody asks questions to ask, you'll be able to go through and ask questions. Because if you ask questions, you'll be able to get the answer. So it's good. They should continue.
It's something that would benefit not just me, but Nigerians as a whole. Because you have an idea of what is going on, because I'm not just in the dark. At least I know what the NNPC is about and what they do.
It's good for Nigerians to know the truth about what is happening there, because we'll be hearing so many stories, how our money and other things are going. But this time around, with the transparency of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, we know now that things are getting better.
The NNPC's June 2020 monthly financial and operations report is the 59th edition in the series. And the NNPC is committed to sustaining the global best practices of transparency and accountability going forward. And that's it on this segment. Please stay with us for the other segments of the program. Hello
Hello and welcome to this segment of the program. My name is Tola Bobuade. Did you know that oilfield service includes those companies that provide specialized equipment, services and technical skills needed for exploring, drilling, completing, testing, producing and maintaining oil wells? Oilfield services and supply companies do not typically produce oil and gas or own the assets that contains hydrocarbon reserves. Did you know that at a typical drilling well site, there could be 30 or more different oilfield service companies? Did you also know that these companies handle the mechanical, technical, and analytic operations needed to successfully drill and complete a well? Now you know. Please stay tuned for the rest of the program.
Hello and welcome to Global Crude Oil Outlook. Oil prices extended losses, falling to their lowest point since early August, as worries about weaker United States gasoline demand and a sluggish economic recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic dented sentiment. Brent crude futures fell 79 cents or 1.8% to $43.64 per barrel. The United States West Texas Intermediate WTI crude futures were down 67 cents or 1.6% at $40.84 per barrel. Meanwhile, Market Intelligence Department of the NNPC's London office reports that oil markets were treated to bigger than expected stock draws during the week, but the ended session with the biggest daily loss in over a month. While weekly demand numbers from the U.S. Energy Information Administration (EIA) are more of an estimate than a hard data point, they suggest some of the recent recovery momentum is wearing off. And that's it on this segment of the program. I am Abigail Ojogo.
For what NNPC has done in phase 1 out of the 26, 27, that they habilitated 13 now, I think is a wonderful development, and that means more lives will be saved, and that is one of the best things that can happen to the country.
Let's take responsibility to stop the spread of the virus. Wash your hands frequently with soap under running water for about 20 seconds. Or use a hand sanitizer where water and soap are not available. Cough or sneeze into a tissue and dispose properly. Or cough or sneeze into your elbow.
Avoid large gatherings. Keep physical contact to no less than 2 meters and wear a mask whenever you are in a public space.
Clean all surfaces frequently with disinfectant.
And if you develop symptoms like frequent cough, sneezing, fever, or shortage of breath, call your state emergency number or NCDC's toll-free number on 0800 9700 0010. Take responsibility. Do it for yourself and the rest of us.
This message is brought to you by the NCDC and funded by the NNPC IPPG team, an association of indigenous oil and gas producing companies.
That's our package on Oil and Gas Forum for this edition. Thank you for being faithful to stakeholdership. Have yourself a jolly good week ahead.